Are we back? Yeah, I think we're back, right? Welcome back, everybody. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. I know. I'm just making sure that all our levels are set right now. I've had such a problem with Restream. I'm about to lose my mind. I'm going to have to bail out on it. Saturday show. Hey, yeah, no, I got some phone calls after the end of the show because I had to bail on it real quick. And the reason why is because I kind of like showed something real quick by a glance and some personal stuff. And I was like, all right, I got to bail out. See you later. Love you guys. And then everybody thought that I got swatted. Well, not, I will eventually get swatted. I already know that. That's why I have the safe house right now. So anyway, welcome back to Whitty Reviews, another Tuesday night show at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Chateau de Mars Hill Network. I am your host, Steve Whitmer, a.k.a. Slick Whitty, a.k.a. Baron of Banville, a.k.a. your new favorite State House journalist? I think so. Because tomorrow, guess where I'm going to be tomorrow? I'm going to the State House tomorrow, and I'm going to check out everything that's going on, and I'll be live on, guess what? Indie Reporter. That's right. And if you're not already following Indie Reporter, what are we even doing? I mean, what are you even doing? It's the hottest, greatest reporting Twitter site, Twitter page now. And we're getting a bunch of followers. It's pretty awesome. Also, make sure you're following Whitty Reviews. Listen, the council, they are not having any kind of meetings, and it's kind of annoying. But whatever. Also, make sure you're following Brandon Shane on Beyond Formal. He has a show tonight at 9 o'clock, but listen, you can watch that after Mouthwash at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Chateau de Mars Hill Network. Also, he did a little trolling on the DSA today, and he was interviewing people at the Lincoln Day dinner in Lake County. It was really good. I didn't realize how old Aaron Hoochin was either. So anyway, real quick before we get into the show, there was an event at Life Church. They had Dan Elliott. They had Lisa Nashala. It was supposed to have Diego Morales, but guess where he was? Not there. So we sent his boy toy, Keegan. I'm sure Keegan's a real nice guy. I slightly feel bad for him because he's basically the punching bag for everybody. During the budget meeting last week, Randy Pohl and Fatty Carrera, I forgot how you say his name, Fatty, whatever. He is a bit fatty. They asked him, hey, where's Diego at? And then Keegan said he's on an economic development mission or something like that. It's like, why? He's supposed to be here. And you want to know why? Because earlier this year at the very first budget hearing in the House, and I think it was in the Ways and Means, Ed Delaney he mogged him. I mean, just verbally abused him. And Diego is like, we hire the best. We can do what we have, and we are awesome. I'm paraphrasing, of course. It was like really what set off the whole Indie Reporter thing. It was very amusing. He was like a burrito in headlights, really. He was going to get deported for sure. And I would have been right there to hit the catapult button. See ya! I hope someone primaries Diego. That's all I'm saying. If anybody is out there that wants to primary Diego, I'm ready to get him out. He's going to make sure that Indiana turns blue. And, he's the worst. All right. Also, hey, baby, wake up. The new scam just dropped. Chicago Flips Red. Right now we have this group called Chicago Flips Red, and they are wanting to turn Chicago into a Republican area. Where it all started, Democrat into Chicago Flips Red. Now, here is my opinion about Chicago Flips Red. If you go to their website, it's okay, but what are they mostly worried about? They're fundraising. They have no mission statement. It's like, we're just here. What's the other media content, actually? We coming for them seats, bro. So funny. And then what is it for their fundraising? It shows it needs to have Destiny is gonna just get pounded again. She's gonna get pounded worse than those Chicago college boys at the brewery. Their goal is $100,000, which just screams to me a giant scam. 100%. Like if the very first thing is what you're wanting is contributions, this is like the BLM for Republicans. I also would like to know where their money's going to. Is it Win Red? They have some merch and whatever. All right. So anyway, let's get into, there we go, into what we're actually here for. We're going to show you how bad the Republicans are going to fuck you on these energy costs that are coming down the pipeline. And I really struggled of how I was going to talk about this whole thing, because whenever we start getting into the weeds of stuff, especially something brand new, I start glazing over. You're changing the channel. So I'm hoping that I bring enough energy out there for you that hopefully you guys understand it. That is my goal for tonight. If it doesn't work, well, that's bad on me. All right, so how did we get here? Well, back in 2022, the Indiana Senate bill is considering SMRs. What are SMRs? Small modular reactors. Now, small modular reactors we're using on submarines, on battleships. It's been going on for a very long time. So back in 2022, they said, hey, this is going to give permission to the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, which is codename for IURC. Remember, there's going to be a lot of acronyms. I need you guys to catch up. IURC. Hey, right on. Let's go. It's the IURC. Remember that. And SMR, small modular reactors. That's primarily the words that we're going to be using today. And there are two opponents to this whole bill that would be doing the studying. Shelley Yoder and Jean Baru. Rip to Jean Baru. She died last year, and now Lakeisha Jackson has taken over for her, and Lakeisha Jackson is a giant racist. So at the beginning of the year, this is where things are really starting to take off. Indie Reporter is brand new. We didn't know anything about SMRs or PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers, all these different things that we're trying to figure out. And it's a lot of shit. So for the last 3 months, we have been trying to figure out this whole small modular reactor thing. So fortunately, with the power of the internet and ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure we've got it nailed down. Now, it's just the explaining part that we're struggling on. So GOP lawmakers eye small nuclear in Indiana despite advocate concerns. Now, the Citizens Action Coalition, which I've known about for the last couple of years. I thought they were a bunch of lib shits, which not too far off, honestly. But they also have some good points. Democrats are against it because, well, we're going to explain more into it, but it's an unproven technology. And it's true because what I have found out last night, that Republican boomers, neo-boomers, neo-cucks basically are just propping SMRs like it's sliced bread. Like, OMG, look, we found a clean, green way of supplying energy for people. Here's the deal, though. SMRs are not going to be used for regular people. They are primarily going to be used for data centers, and I have the data. All right, so what bills do we have to pay attention to right now? It's House Bill 1007. And this bill, this is the primary part that you have to remember. 80-20. 80% of the approved cost plus 20% deferred to the next general rate case and permits the IURC. What is the IURC? Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. I really had a brain fart there. All right, so the requirements. This was the most interesting. Report requirements post 2020-25 for utilities retiring or refueling generation resources of 125 megawatts or more. Which you're like, what does that mean? What is that into regular terms? And we're gonna get to that because all these megawatts and gigawatts and the whoosies and the boozies, we have to. What does it mean for child brains like yours truly? Put it into a coloring book for me, would you? All right, so the 80-20 is the most important part because that means that the utility company can retrieve 80% of their money, right? I mean, if approved cost no matter what, and 20% by the next general rate case, which usually means you can get 100. They can get 100% of their money back from the taxpayers without ever activating an actual SMR, a small modular reactor. This guy talked a lot today, and if you follow Indie Reporter like a good and sweet little boy and girl, you will be seeing that tomorrow. I got a little bit of clipping to do. There's a lot of good talks. All right, so what is the other one? So we have HB 1007, and we also have two more bills for Senate Bill 423. Yep. Which remember what I said about the 80-20? Where was that? Oh, 80-20 again? OMG. OMG. This is, remember, 80-20, not on just one bill, but two bills. Oh, wait. 424, three bills, which tells me what? They want that money back. If there is not an SMR that is actually activated, the utility company can get all of their money back. 80%, as long as they make a strong case for it, and the rest of 20%, as long as they can do enough convincing. Now, this is the most important part about this whole 80-20 rule. And Matt Pierce actually did a real good job about it, which is on Indie Reporter, about explaining it. They can cover the permitting, the licensing, the buying of the equipment. And the way that Matt Pierce was putting it was that, yeah, here it is. The period over which the project development costs are incurred, or 3 years, whichever is less. Yeah, so they could go through this entire process, buying everything, getting ready for it. And if they figure out that, hey, you know what? It's actually not going to be financially plausible to do this whole thing. They can recover 80% of their money and then 20% later without even putting a shovel in the ground. And who's going to be funding that? The taxpayers. So now we have three bills, right? 1007, 423, and 424. And what do they all have in common? 80-20. So which tells me what? And I know all of you out there are smart enough to figure it out. They are going to get their money back. You have three different bills with the 80-20 method. The utility companies are getting that money back. And who's to say that the whatever permitting or licensing or definitely equipment, they're not going to find somebody and they're going to inflate the prices, so they're going to be making a little bit of a profit off of it. This is how the scams work. This is the 80-20. These are the things we have to worry about. But we also have to look at the history of the SMRs and kind of where we're going with it and why this is such a big deal, because the bills matter, but this one was the craziest one. 1628, property development matters. Now, this bill would take away local control and start shoving solar farms down everybody's throat. All those farmers that are like in all those rural communities, yeah, 1.21 gigawatts, that's right. But 1628 would basically take away local control. And why is this important? Because there are Republicans that are shilling to take away local control. And I have the proof. I got the proof, okay? So there is also Senate Bill 422, which this one is a little bit interesting too. Not that bad of a bill. The Citizens Action Coalition, I believe they were okay with it. This one defines advanced transmission technologies. And basically what it does is that, hey, you know, we're going to look into a little bit more efficiency technology, mostly power lines are more efficient, get more wind and solar on the ground. And they said, here's the most important part, which can hopefully lead to fewer increased costs to customers. Hopefully, hey, hopefully you guys won't get completely fucked by the utility companies. Hopefully your taxpayer money will hopefully lower costs for energy. You know what I say to hopefully? It's a whole lot of bullshit. All right, so, all right. Producer John, Chateau de Mars Hill, producer John, get ready to play this here in a second. So everybody keeps saying this. There's this whole propaganda going on right now that SMR is going to lower energy costs. Well, Ed Soliday admitted that this will not reduce energy costs. All right, go ahead and play it.
Let me answer that, if you would, Madam Secretary. There's a lot of mythology going around out there with people saying we're going to cut rates. Now, if you study this at any length, our parents and our grandparents built our infrastructure, electric, roads, pipes, water, and it's wearing out. Our turn. Number two, we are, for folks who are concerned about the environment, making one of the most enormous changes in generation, whether it's wind. I hear people say we have all wind, solar, and batteries. It's going to be free. Really? Who's going to pay those $1,200 to $1,800 an acre lease payments? Who's going to pay the people to maintain the wires? I've listened to the vision casters, and I've looked at Germany, whose rates went up 500% in 1 year. Believe me, if Senator Cook or I could cut rates, it would happen tomorrow. But you cannot take on this radical change and plan to do it free. So if you look at other countries, look at ones that have made radical change too far, too fast, too soon, their rates have gone up significantly. So I want them to go down. I want them to be affordable. A 1 gigawatt battery, 1 gigawatt is $1 billion. It's good for 4 hours. Now somebody will get up here and say, oh no, there's a new technology that they're going to have, and there isn't. Till we see it, it doesn't exist. So it is going to be expensive to meet the issues of climate change, of reliability, and the 5 pillars. And I am too old to stand up here and lie to you. So you may add, Madam Secretary, if you like.
I think you've said it all. Thank you very much.
Now, thank you. Thank you for being here.
That's good. All right. So not one point that he said, hey, this is going to reduce energy costs. This all has to do with, hey, you know, there's all this aging infrastructure. We're going to have to replace all of it. Why don't we put some unproven technology on there? Now, like I said before, though, everybody is totally shilling. They're all gooning over these SMRs that are unproven. Now, you can point out the battleships or nuclear submarines, but when I looked up of how much energy they produce, it's like 50 megawatts. And like I said before, these are not going to be meant for residential. These are going to be meant for data centers. Now, the NRC has certified their first U.S. small modular reactor design. Now, this was back in January of 2023. And everybody's like, oh, my God, see, we told you. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And who was it for? NuScale, I believe. Yeah. NuScale SMR design certification application back in 2018, blah, 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 and making it the first SMR approved by the NRC for use in the United States. Now, they were going to be using, it's so funny, they were using the same picture, the Voyager, the SMR power plant. And then this was, hey, January 20th, 2023. And what happened less than a year later? Oh, you know that the Idaho nuclear reactor project got canceled? Hey, wait, what's that? Oh, that's the same picture? Oh, that's interesting. So the developer, NuScale Power, and a group of small utilities that had agreed to purchase the nuclear power announced Wednesday they were terminating the carbon-free power project because they did not have enough subscribers. All that coffee, and now I'm burping. Okay, so NuScale's projected cost surged in the last year to about $9 billion. Now, what are they figuring out? You know, this costs a lot of money. And if we don't have enough public money into it, we can't do it, which is like everything else. If you have to have taxpayer money for this thing to work, what are we doing here? It's not worth it. Hey, you know, maybe you should start paying those 12 or $15 million CEOs a little bit less money. But no, we don't want them to take a pay cut. They got their third mistress to worry about. All right. So this douchebag right here, Hoosier Hawk, who I'm pretty sure is pretty sure they are an energy lobbyist. Indie Reporter and Hoosier Hawk was going back and forth on this whole thing. By the way, Hoosier Hawk now has Indie Reporter blocked. And the big question was, are you going to show me a functional SMR in the U.S.? That's what we wanted to know. The brand new technology, you idiot. If it was for people like you, we wouldn't be driving cars or flying planes. Hey, do you think of the people that were designing cars or the engines or the Wright brothers? How much public money were they getting? That's what I wanted to know. You think they just weren't in some shitty garage, sleeping with the rats, having a little bread balls for dinner and lunch, and they're just like, you know what? We're going to do something amazing and fucked the public money. Besides, didn't even have public money back there. It wasn't until we were actually getting into the war, and then that whole thing turned into a giant industrial complex for a bunch of dipshit neocons and warhawks that wanted to kill everybody so they can make a dime off of it. Oh yeah, here, small SMRs have been in use on Navy vessels for decades. Their use in civilian power is new. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I have been saying. And this was January 25th. All right, so who are the people running this whole thing? John Ford, who is the executive director at the Indiana Office of Energy Development, state senator from 2014 to 2024. Now, John Ford, he stepped down so he could become the president of Reliable Energy. And don't you worry, we're going to be talking about reliable energy here in a little bit. And now he's working for the Office of Energy Development under our Secretary of Energy and Natural Resource, Suzanne Jaworowski, a.k.a. Susie Jaws. Now, she used to work for Hallador Energy and NewScale. She was a consultant for NewScale. That's right, the same NewScale who got certified in their design, but also it costs way too much money. The people that are leading the pack on this whole SMR design in this country, because the only two countries that actually have SMRs working right now are Russia and China. And guess what China's still doing? They're still building coal plants. They know what's going on. Don't worry, I got more tabs. All right, so let's break this down into a Cranbrook style pop-up book. Now, I did a little bit of Chat GPT, just to get deep down and dirty. I wanted to know because there's all these data centers that are getting approved. There's one in Franklin Township that's getting talks about. One just got approved for Pittsboro last week. And I wanted to know, well, how many data centers are in Ohio? As of early 2025, they have 173, which is bananas. It is crazy. And I checked, I wanted to see, well, how many are in Indiana? Between 12 and 56, which, that's a pretty big spread, if you ask me. Now, I want to know how big these data centers are. They have to be small. And so anyway, I wanted to also find out how many megawatts to power a data center, and it all depends. Now, the ones that are in like LaPorte, possibly Pittsboro. I think the one in Evansville too. They're going to be like Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Those are going to require 10 megawatts to 100 plus megawatt. Or these and then these AI and high performance computing ones, 100 megawatts to 500 megawatts. Now, I wanted to know if you have these AI and high performance computing data centers, say at 500 megawatts, how many homes does that power? And at 375,000 homes. All right, let's put that to scale. How many is that? How many homes are in Indianapolis between 360 and 368? Yeah, so you're talking about one of these high performance AI data centers needing as much energy to power all of Indianapolis. That is crazy. Now, here's my point. How are we going to get the energy for all of this stuff? It's not going to be by the utility companies. It's going to be by us. And I see Anderson York in there right now because he knows what I'm talking about. He's on my side. I believe he's on my side. And I think most of the people that are on his side are also on my side on this subject right here. Because guess what? I know Democrats are. I know Andrea Hunley's on my side because she talked about it today. Shelley Yoder's on my side. Democrats are actually being very smart about this. Surprisingly. And also there are a couple of Republicans too, 7 of them that voted against this whole 80-20 thing, which we're going to talk about towards the end. All right. All right. I don't want not that one, this one. All right. So also, Matt, there was the Bill 424 that we talked about. What did I say? The 80-20. And Matt Pierce put out an absolute informational, rear dem. Yeah, not so much for Carlos Perkins and them, right? Maybe we should ask him about SMRs. Hey, which one do you prefer, Carlos? Is it data centers or charter schools? Hey, we need the SMRs to power up the charter schools. All right. So anyway, Matt Pierce, he put on an absolute informational clinic. 7 minutes of talking. It's on the Indie Reporter website, Twitter page. And he put out some really great information about what was going on. Yeah, one failed SMR project that would have required $1 billion in pre-construction cost. And SB 424 advanced on a 59-30 vote. Identical language in HB 1007 is also expected to cross the finish line. So now you have three. He prefers whichever is paying him. So true, Anderson. So now we have three bills that all have this 80-20 language in it, which means taxpayers are going to be funding this whole thing, whether you like it or not. And their excuse for this is, hey, you know, we got to get ahead of the curve. I was watching one committee meeting or something on the floor where they said, you know, we're not number one. We're like number 8 in line for all of this stuff. And he starts comparing different states like Illinois or wherever. And I was like, you know, Illinois is in a deficit right now. Why are we even using them as a role model? They don't know how to control their money. They can't even they don't even have a good football team. And the state is going to pay for a new Bears stadium in Arlington Heights. You're going to tell me like they're going to be our role model? Fuck you. All right. Go eat and lick my gooch. All right. Cause I am not going to take any of that stuff into mind. All right, so what's Ohio doing? Since how many data centers they said? Like 175, something like that. They have something very interesting that they're doing. They are going to be powering some of these things using natural gas. Because for those who don't know, basically all of this is a steam engine. That's what nuclear is just powering it through steam. Now, something that people... No, it's not. This is definitely not. Hey, you know, you've been part of my Saturday show, Tyler. This is not a family show. This is a slightly raunchy, deep and dirty show to give everybody's attention. And I'm not a family language guy. You should hear me in the car when I'm on the highway. That'll turn some cheeks blue. Yeah, I do have a trash. I do have a toilet mouth. Yeah, it's Saturday. Try to. Yeah, Saturday show. Now Saturday show is, hey, you know what? I know something funny. Saturday show is only like 80% of what I say in public. This show is like 40% of what I say in public. So you can only imagine. The reason why I get so wound up about this stuff is because look at our roads in Indianapolis. Look at how many potholes there are. We're still having to fund this whole 69 project, and now they're wanting to open it up on 65. We're going to have to get toll roads. And where is all this money going to come from? I talk shit about Micah wanting $3 million for his faith-based initiative. Braun, it wants over $100,000 to fortify his house because he doesn't want to live in the governor's mansion. Does it have like a Monica Lewinsky room or something? Are the floors sticky? Go and hire a maid to clean up all the go through there with a black light and clean up all the stains. That's all you have to do. Clean the bed sheets. I don't know. Bring in your own bed. There's no reason to be 2 hours away from the state house. All right. You are the governor of Indiana. And it makes no sense when you're trying to tell everybody to tighten their belt and you're okay with Mike is okay with throwing a couple mil into a maybe, and then Braun's okay with spending, $100,000 on the making his house into a fortress. Funny enough, though, I didn't realize there was only $8,000 for a helicopter pad. Hey, can my masonry bros tell me, is that a good deal or not? We don't know how big a helicopter pad is, though, but it seems like $8,000 is a good price. I don't know what the rating is on it. All right. So anyway, back into this, you got me all distracted. All right. So Ohio is doing something very interesting. They are going to be using more natural gas. And I didn't get to read all this article, but I think they're getting rid of the subsidies for some of this green stuff too. I don't know. This is going to be interesting for everybody. Oh, yeah, there it is. 176 in Ohio. Those 108 are in central Ohio. They allow the owners of data centers to get approval in 45 days to build a large electricity generation plant on the property they own with no local approval. I mean, is that so bad? I mean, they have already destroyed the land on them. So this is what they're doing in LaPorte. So I actually drove to LaPorte to take a look at the data center. And they're going to have their own fixture over there. It's like mere feet away. It's pretty interesting, actually, because I was studying up on this whole SMR thing, and I wanted to see, like, is it going to be for data centers or is it going to be for residential? And I'm like convinced now it's just going to be for data centers. All right. So anyway, new scale, small modular reactors are unestablished and costly. And let's not forget too. Do I have it up? Where is it? They're also under investigation. I thought I had it up here. Yeah, they had an active SE inquiry. Shares fall. This was back in last August. Now, it's funny about this one. I'm going to go back to whatever I was looking at before. And originally they said, oh, no, we're not under investigation. What are you talking about? And then like a month or two later, like, oh, yeah, actually, we are under investigation. My bad. This is back in February. This was just last month. Yeah. NuScale's power stock surged over 600% last year, but it's now rated as sell due to high cost, lack of profitability, and no operational SMR plants. This is the most important part. We are taking a at least 7 to 10 year gamble on SMRs that we don't even know how much they're going to produce. And it turns out they probably don't even have enough energy to produce to power a data center. So what does this mean? You're going to have to find another way of getting power because this just ain't doing it. When I looked it up yesterday, those battleships were only producing like, oh, here we go, microreactor. Large scale reactor, like the big boys, doing the 300 to 1,000 megawatts. Now you got a small modular reactor is doing 20 to 300 megawatts. And what did we look at before? The big boy, where was it? There it is. The small ones, less than 1 megawatt, medium size, but what is it? The large data centers, the big boys that they're doing right now, 10 megawatts to 100 megawatts. I would probably, some of the largest facilities exceed 200 megawatts. Now, does that mean that the small modular reactor are going to be handling some of the stuff? Who knows? Honestly, we don't know. And that is my point. We don't know what's going to happen in real life. You can have all this stuff on paper. It's like everything else. Hey, on paper it sounded good, but who knew that it's actually going to cost us a lot of money? But who's going to be the one funding all of it? The taxpayers. And Canary Media saying the same thing this month. Cost trackers, SMRs. Yeah, I think Rolls-Royce. Yeah, Rolls-Royce was also on there. There's like a half a dozen companies that are on the list of people that are trying to develop SMRs. Sullivan County is getting their own data center. This was just the other day. Terre Haute-based Hallador Energy said in its most recent earnings report it is making meaningful progress toward reaching an agreement for a new data center in Indiana. And surprisingly, this actually has to do a lot with the property tax stuff, too, because of how bad rural economies are going to get completely screwed. Hey, you like that? I could have said a different word, but I did it because, I'm getting reeled in. Hey, at least I don't have a Jolly Rancher today. Anyway, Pittsboro Town Council, they approved the rezoning for a data center, too. I don't know what's going to be on there, how big it's going to be. What the crap? You probably didn't hear that. Okay, Vantage Data Center. So the company's asking to rezone 625 acres, and 285 acres could be used for the center. The data center could employ up to 100 people. Yeah, and don't forget, those 100 people might not even be from Indiana. Those might be H-1B workers. So you're not only bringing in. Yeah, thank you. I like to be a good and sweet little boy sometimes. I know I'm going to hear from producer John after the show. So anyway, well, we don't know any of what's going to happen exactly. And yeah, you're going to hear this property. I want to find out who this guy's. Charles D. Smith Family Farm. Now, it might be all these boomers that are retiring and just like, I'm going to get my money that I can and then just bail out. And there was a lot of resistance to it too, which we're going to talk about. But here's the funny part. Guess who is joining Dorel Renewables on the board of directors? That's right. Our own czar. Eric Holcomb. Now, why? Hello, Jimmy Bennett. And Spiro in the house, too. Let's go. All right, so remember, back in 2022, Dorel Renewables launches the next phase of a $1.5 billion solar farm. And who else was part of it? Our former candidate for governor, Brad Chambers, because he was the president of the IEDC at the time. And there's Eric Holcomb right there. I tried seeing if I recognized anybody else. I didn't really recognize anybody else, though. Okay, so Holcomb traveled to Israel on this one because Dorel Renewables is actually owned by an Israeli company. So when he was going to all these different countries, that's what he was doing. He was trying to find out where he can make more money off of it. It's being paid for by Imagine Indiana. I should find out who that is. Actually, let me put that a note right now. Imagine Indiana, 501c4, before I forget. Nonprofit that seeks to inspire collaboration and conversation to those who want to help continue to build the okay, so this is hold on. Hold on. Okay. I gotta look away because my ADD is gonna kick in. All right, so Microsoft is paying $1.6 billion to restart 3 Mile Island. They're also trying to find different ways of trying to power these data centers. And the thing that people don't talk about enough is all the tax incentives that these data centers are getting. LaPorte, for example, they're getting 50 years of tax incentives. That means the equipment that they buy, the wiring, a couple of other things, they don't have to pay sales tax on it. They're also a tax abatement on the property. So all these jerk-offs, hey, how do you like that? I didn't even say a naughty word. All these jerk-offs that I keep talking about how, oh my God, we're going to make so much money off of this thing. Okay, by what though? By the construction of it, that you're going to have to bring in people that are out of state? Oh, but what about all these high-paying jobs? How many of them? And how many people are not even going to be from this country? Then that means what? That means you're going to have to build housing for it. That means property taxes are automatically going up no matter what Abu says. You know, that jerk off said was like, hey, everybody's talking about property taxes going up, but all these commercial developments that people said that they didn't want, that could have paid for them. That's not how it works. You bring it. This is the Walmart theory. Once you have a Walmart in there, everything else flows. And now your property is worth more because you have a Walmart near you, which means what? Your property taxes are also going up because now your value has gone up because you have a Walmart. Abu is just too much of a dipshit to figure that out. All right. So where is this? 424. Okay, we already talked about that. So they're trying to figure out too of like, how are they actually going to power all these data centers? And now they're trying to restart 3 Mile Island. And I think that's in New York, right? $1.6 billion to restart 3 Mile Island. Yeah. Is it all their $1.6 billion? Because I guarantee you it's not. All right. So now we have to be careful of the shills, all these energy shills that you have never seen before until now. And we have to go with our own Whitty Yates, what is she? The DEI officer, the chief DEI officer for the Republican Party. But yet Mike Braun said he doesn't want DEI in Indiana. Tell you what, if you are going to be a hypocrite, at least be honest about it. Otherwise, get rid of DEI in the Republican Party. And if you're going to have DEI in the Republican Party, get rid of Whitty Yates, bring in a big booty Latina, and fire her ass. I don't want to hear some solar farm shill about rural communities when she lives in Indianapolis and she is also a Natalie Goodwin voter because she is just a complete fake. And listen, I know that there was some B word went to Jerry Lopez because we are a pro Jerry Lopez, pro Indy Spanglish show, not only on the Whitty Reviews, but also the weekly Whitty News on Saturday night at 8:00 p.m. on YouTube. No longer Facebook, because screw Facebook and screw Restream. And there was some lady that went over to Jerry Lopez and said that I was talking crap about him. And I almost thought it was Whitley Yates, but I'm still not convinced it's not her. But also, we have and if anybody who has followed Whitley for a while, they understand that she does not have anything to do with solar or energy or anything. So now they're bringing out everybody to try and convince them, to gaslight them and say, hey, if you're not willing to forego local government, give up local government control, you're actually not a conservative. This is the kind of gaslighting that they're doing right now. And my worry about all these property tax stuff is that all these rural communities will need all of these solar farms so they get the money back so they can pay for all the services, whether it's schools, whether it's public safety. Because I think the rural communities are going to get hit the worst. And I don't even know how much some of the people in the Donut County are going to get hurt. All I know is probably not going to end well. But Casey Schreiner over here, does the solar impact public good? Yeah, it does. Not as it only it's ugly, but it's also toxic. We see whenever there's a hailstorm, they're nailing these solar panels, and what? All the solar glass, all the parts of it is hitting the ground, and now you've just turned into reusable farmland into a toxic zone. And there's enough toxic zones in Indianapolis. Why aren't any of these buildings using solar panels then? That's what I want to know. If you really wanted to show us how it's done, why don't you put them on your own home, put them on your own building? Because they're not in any good. First off, you need battery storage for it. Otherwise, you need sunlight 24/7. But then we also have Casey Schreiner. This chick right here, for many, the line is do no harm. Most people I've heard just don't want to look at solar. Yeah, that's part of it. Then there are massive disinformation campaigns on solar's environmental impacts that are false. If you have a smartphone, you sleep next to what's in a solar panel. So what she's saying is, hey, this is just like the whole trans debate. How does this affect you, though? Hey, if I cut up my own kid or if I give them hormone blockers, how does this affect you, right? Hey, no, let's just completely trash the farmland that we could use and put ugly, not usable solar panels that you're going to have 100 acres that's barely going to power a parking lot. Jerk offs. All right, but this was probably my favorite right here. Also, I would love to see more solar in Indiana, not hiding it. And she gets totally mogged in the comments section. I mean, there's like maybe one or two people that are on her side. Yeah, we don't want housing. We don't want solar, housing developments, or any more Dollar General stores based. And also, she used to work for Todd Young, and she had a time to discuss regenerative AG permitting reform and nuclear with ACC action. All right, we're closing up right now. So also Abdul now, Eddie Abdul Abu, our old friend Abu, had some solar shill on his show on Saturday that I heard about, and now it's on Indie Politics. Go ahead and check it out if you want. All right, so this is what happened to SB 424 today. I will be clipping it and putting up on Indie Reporter tomorrow because I'm the best at clipping. Man, it's not even turning out good. All right, so those in the yellow voted for it, and those in the red voted against it. What was 424 again? It was that 80-20 rule. 80% they can, the utility companies can get back. The 20% they can do it after utility rate case. Okay. This is the best part. All right, so who voted against it? Crap, you can't see it. Who voted against it? The Republicans that voted against it was Alteen, Becker, Dunuk, Freeman. Very surprising to see Freeman on there. Is Niemeyer a Republican, I think? Yeah. Then Tomes, Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker is probably I was surprised that he voted no against it. And my senator, Mike Young, who had a great speech on the Senate floor talking about how bad of a bill this is. Based Mike Young, once again, that's my senator. I want him in there as long as we can because he is a man of the people. Thank you, Mike Young. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how are all these energy bills just getting ran through? Well, who is the majority of the IGA, the Indiana General Assembly? You have all these old guys that think that they're in power and they just want a sweet little thing to massage their back a little bit, maybe take them out a little bit, have a good time, maybe a little flirty. We call it the Natalie Goodwin syndrome, basically. Well, that would be because of a woman who named Savannah Kernstein. She is the president of Reliable Energy. That's right. The same Reliable Energy. Oh, you can't even see it. Whatever. Trust me. Reliable Energy. She is now the president. She was the vice president. And who was the president before? John Ford, the one who ran the carbon sequestration bill, the one that stepped down from being a senator to run Reliable Energy, who is now the part of Office of Energy, I believe. Where is it? Executive Director of Indiana Office of Energy Development, OED. And so how did she be? It's also, by the way, former deputy campaign manager for Jefferson Shreve. And what can we say? Oh, come on. You got to be kidding right now. How is this even possible? This is her right here. She knows how to get down. She knows how to get down. Boom, there we go. I paused it. Pause. Hey, my pause game is on point. Don't start on the whole boomer thing again. I have to. I'll be at the State House, and I'm going to try and ask some of them, hey, boomer bros, what's the deal with Savannah coming in here and saying, hey, can you push this, and just starts, petting on the jack a little bit. Hey, Soliday, can you push this energy bill for me? I'm from Reliable Energy. I'm just saying, okay? By the way, Reliable Energy has Indie Reporter blocked because we caused so much crap with them that they finally got annoyed with us and said, you know what? We're not doing this anymore. We don't like being called out all the time. All right, one last thing. I got 3 minutes left at 8:51. So get ready at 8:51. I'm going to clock out. And Indiana Uplands Initiative gets, this will be the last thing I talk about, right? Yeah. Okay. So Indiana Uplands Initiative gets a $40,000 boost to tackle child care shortage. Here's the deal. Regional Opportunity Initiatives, a nonprofit focused on economic and community growth in Southern Indiana, has received a $40,000 grant to address the region's child care challenges. The grant, funded by the Duke Energy Foundation and the Indiana Economic Development Association Foundation, is part of a larger $150,000 initiative to improve access to affordable childcare across Indiana. Why am I bringing this up? Because if Duke Energy has enough money to plug money into their foundation, we are paying too much in energy. That is all I'm saying. They have money to give to this foundation, and then that foundation launders it to another nonprofit. You see where I'm going with this whole thing. And if they have this amount of money to give to a nonprofit, launder it to a nonprofit, that means that we are paying too much money and energy costs. And I want that money back, by the way. And I believe it was Duke Energy. Was it AES or was it Duke Energy that was raising the rates, rate increase in 2025? Is that not what happened? We're experiencing, well, guess what? Duke Energy customers will experience a rate increase starting March of 2025. Oh boy. But yep, they have enough money to give to launder it to a nonprofit for some childcare. People will be able to afford child care if some of our other bills were a little bit cheaper. That is all I'm saying. there is such a huge problem with our tax money going to these billion-dollar corporations, feeding these $15 million CEOs so they can have their third yacht with their fourth mistress, with their second baby mama, and I'm tired of it, and I'm here to call all of it. And if you don't like my cursing too much, this is how passionate I am about it. You know, times like these, I have to have myself a little candy smoke. Whew. Was it good for you? It was good for me. But anyway, my 1 minute is up. You guys have a great night. Make sure you check out Mouthwash show happening in 9 minutes. And afterwards, after you're done watching Mouthwash, go to Beyond Formal because he will be talking about the corruption going on in Gary for the last 100 years or so. Anyway, until next week, have a great night.